Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, to whichever part of the world you are joining, and welcome to VizConnect. So, VizConnect is all about connecting you with the art of data visualization and storytelling. It started as a community project with one of the Tableau ambassadors in India, Divya Bharti, in which we wanted to create a platform to go ahead and help people to connect with each other, inspire them, and participate into Tableau community initiatives. So now we have a team of 5 people, including Adam Miko, Lucius, Judith, Divya, and myself. So far we have hosted 38 sessions, 43 speakers, 6,000 attendees. We have a YouTube channel in which we have 1,000 subscribers, a LinkedIn group in which you can go ahead and connect with each other. And this has been possible with the help of our amazing speakers, Tableau Zen masters, ambassadors who have just gone ahead and shared their best practices and inspired our community. So as I was telling you about, we have a YouTube channel by the name of VizConnect. Go ahead, subscribe to it. Some awesome content waiting for you all. Do remember to subscribe to it. And we have a LinkedIn group by the name of VizConnect, in which great content has been shared by everyone with respect to data visualization and storytelling. Go ahead and join this group. With that, I will hand it over to Adam.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Our first speaker today is Annabelle Rincon. She obtained a master's degree in bank finance and risk management. After a career in private and public banking sector as a data analyst, she specialized in visual analytics and on mastering Tableau, both on desktop and on server. Competing in a 2019 Global Iron Biz contest, she earned a 4th place finish. She holds a Tableau Desktop Certified Professional certification and leads a Tableau Center of Enablement at Vontobel. Annabelle is leading Data Plus Women in Zurich and LATAM in her free time. So a fun fact about her, she moved closer to Switzerland to be attached to her most guilty pleasure, and that's chocolate. Without further ado, Annabelle.
Yeah, good morning. I will share my screen. Thank you again for inviting me to this community VizConnect session. I think that what you are doing, guys, is like pretty impressive. So thank you for putting all this content for us. I have learned a lot of things thanks to you, so thank you. I hope that hopefully today you will find it useful. So the topic that I wanted to share with the audience today is like how to do a functional dashboard, but yet beautiful. We know that on a daily environment and business environment, we don't have time. So we need to provide like a great insight to your boss, but you have to do quick. So some words about me. So I had like I'm old now. I have a lot of experience in banks. I'm, like you already noticed, I'm French from Spanish parents. So and now I'm living in Switzerland. So I'm quite European. Here are the contact information if you would like to connect after that with the talk. I will be happy to speak with all of you. And yes, so one of my passion is like Tableau, obviously, and also share my knowledge and my passion about it. I'm also leading the Data Plus Women Zurich community and Latin America. And what we have, it's next week, we have an event. So if we would like to attend Data Plus Women and be inspired by women in data, please join our event. Here I put a QR code. So you will be, if you scan it, you will be transferred to the registration page. Perfect. About my co-speaker today, I'm working from home on this troubled time, so my little beautiful dog will be my co-speaker, so I prefer to mention in case that you hear it from time to time. So, where I come from, like you said, I work first in private banks. where I was responsible of sharing some shares for the clients, but also as a relationship manager. So I have all of this knowledge about what the business needs. And after I joined the French Central Bank as a data analyst, and my life there were like very different now, but yeah, I will share with you some what I've done. So I was a data analyst. I was connecting to this data warehouse. And after I was using a tool called SaaS Enterprise Guide. I don't know if some guys knew it. It's a tool to prepare the data. So I was doing all the pipeline, and when I have done all the data transformation, what I have done is I download in Excel. I download in Excel to do the visualization part. And my job there were to write some annual and monthly reports. So what I was doing was reporting. Just have a look. So that is the kind of report I've done. There's nothing wrong about it. It's just like it's reporting. You cannot read very easily this kind of visualization, what you have, because what it's supposed to do is that you have this visualization and also the text to help you there. It's in French. Huh? So this report was destined to be printed. After I joined Switzerland and I discovered Tableau, and my life changed totally. I discovered what was visual analytic. And that visual analytic was like that you can take decision based on the data that you present. And yeah, it was my how moment. It was 5 years ago. And since then, I noticed so much time that I could have done better on previous job. And yeah, I'm very happy. So I'm very happy to be, like I said, here today and share this experience with you. So the idea is how we can do powerful dashboard in real time when we don't have time. So my three tips that I can give you, it's make it accessible and enjoyable, of course. Find the right balance. You need to have a little bit of design in order that the experience is enjoyable. And how you achieve that is like by making it as smooth as possible. And third one is make it functional. You need to answer your stakeholder needs. And if you do that, you will achieve very good results. Yeah, so let's start. How we can make it accessible and enjoyable. So the first topic that I wanted to bring, it's about template. For me, template is as for the reporting was a design guide is a visual analytic. Very often people reach to me and say, "Hey, Annabelle, do you want to create a template for your company and everything?" And I say, "No, it's nothing about something wrong, but I think that for visual analytics, it's not very convenient to have. What you want is to invest on your users, train them to use visual analytics and use it correctly instead of investing on a template." Why I said that? Because when you invest on a template, and I've seen that in different companies, you end up with a result like this. You have a navigation page. It looks like a website. And you have like some boxes, and all the users that will create like report has to do the same boxes and try to enter the analysis there. For me, that is not very efficient because you are losing a lot of capability here of visual analytics to convey a message quite quickly. So what I prefer, it's like train my user to what are the best practice and how they can do this dashboard better and use all the capability that you have to do that. And I mean, if all your users are trained, they will be doing good dashboards and you will have a harmony. Don't need to have a template to try to have the same look and feel. I have done that in the past in different companies and now here, and at the end it's really like you don't need to have like a stricter rule like this one. So yeah, invest on your users instead of a template, and I have to say that it's easier to maintain and it's bring much more flexibility. So but when you talk about accessibility, you have to talk about color. your objective should be like to create a dashboard that is accessible and visible by everyone. But if you don't take care about some little point like color, you are missing some of your audience. You have to know that 8% of the male population, especially men, women are less affected apparently, are colorblind. So they don't see the color as the majority of the people. And the top manager are often like men, sadly. So you are like potentially delivering dashboard that cannot be seen properly by 8% of the male population, 8% of your top manager. So here it's like what the regular vision can see. People with a regular vision, you see you have all the color. I will mention some of them: red, orange, green, blue, and purple. But with people that have, hopefully I pronounce well this word, dipteranopia. So all of these other circle represent one of the visual deficiency. So this one, for instance, dipteranopia cannot see the green cones, protanopia cannot see the red cones, and so on. You see, they will not see the color as you do. So it's something that you have to take into consideration. There is a lot of tool in the market to be able like to take a screenshot or you go with your app. I have an app, I can mention it after on the chat, where you can just test your design and see if it's passed all the rules. So obviously there will one color that a combination that doesn't go well together, for instance, is when you put like the traffic light color with the red and the green together, for instance, will not be seen very well by people that have pteranopia or protanopia. So my advice, it's like try not to use these three colors together, the green, the red, and the yellow. So here I put a visualization. So this visualization represents the sales. So the sales are represented in bar, and the profit in color by city. So here I don't follow my advice. I put green, red, and yellow together. And I even put, if I have colorblind people in the audience, I put here, you see, the information if the bar is green, red, and yellow, orange. So here it's not a good practice. I don't advise you to put this little symbol to guide the audience. It's just here for the purpose of this webinar, so people with color blindness can follow my thoughts. Why it's not good? Because it's very complicated for, for people to go through all the list and try to go one by one. What I wanted to mention is like why it's not a good color, obviously because people with deficiency can have difficulty to distinguish. But also, like for instance, for me, it's very overwhelming and confusing. When I saw this kind of graph, I don't know where to focus my attention. Is it on the green, on the red, on the yellow? Everything is shine, and I don't see really what is happening. So, and I mean, as a matter of fact, if you think about it, in the street, the traffic lights are not the three colors together. It's either green, red, or orange. It's not three of them together. So how you can improve here the design is quite simple. You can just apply a different color code. So you can use, for instance, orange to blue divergent. Orange when you have a city that has a negative profit, and blue when it's a positive profit. Why this? Because first, people with deficiency will be able to see it. And secondly, it's like a very well common color, blue, to represent something that is good, the blue sky and everything, so it's good. What I prefer to do, though, it's use a color to convey a message, where I want my audience to focus. And I mean, color, it's a very powerful tool in visual analytics, so you should use it like this. So for instance, here I want to focus on unprofitable. What I have done, I have just put an orange when the city has a negative profit, and a gray because I don't want to attract the attention here. I still want to know which city has the higher sales, but I want to focus on the unprofitable. So I put the orange to guide me. So here's the color and here's the light, length. That is two of the most powerful tools that you can use. So I have often also people saying, yes, you know, I understand your point of view, but yeah, I already have done it on all my dashboard. How I can do it now? So what I advise them is like this blog. It's not for me. It's from G. Schaffer. It's very good. I put the references here. And what he proposed is like in 6 months, change gradually your green into a blue. So here you see the original dashboard that was in green and red. So here you have the red, green here. And what he's done in 6 months, he changed slightly the color, putting a little bit of blue, and to end up with this view. So I think that is quite powerful. It's quite a very good idea. And now for people with deficiency, visual deficiency, they will be able to catch up very well with color differentiation. So yeah, another topic, it's about corporate color. Should I include corporate color on my visuals? I usually recommend to be very careful in that case. Why? Because first, it looks very good on a website, not so much on the dashboard. And often on a dashboard, you want to use color to convey a message, like we did for the unprofitable cities. And often when people use corporate color on a dashboard, it ends up like this. So they use one of the corporate color as a background, here with all the filters. They put all the corporate color as categories, and sometimes in different view on the same dashboard, they end up using the same color to represent different categories. Here it's only 3, but sometimes it's much more than 3, and it's even more confusing. Some of the corporate color, like I said, are not looking good on the dashboard. The yellow with a white background is not very shiny. So usually I try to tell them, okay, you can use 1 corporate color, 2 the maximum, but try to take the neutral one. Usually I put, for instance, a blue corporate color, like to represent my graph, or a gray one to represent the background, for instance. For the filter, I will show. Yeah, but try not to use them all together. And yes, one problem also, it's when they want to put, for instance, a red or pink as represent negative profit, they don't use that. Don't use your pink corporate color to represent something bad, because a corporate color should always represent something good, right? So what I recommend is always to encode the color. So either you see it's here the dashboard represents exactly the same, represents it differently, and with a filter to have the split, for instance, and to orange to blue for the profit. That's a possibility. So here, for instance, you can use a gray corporate color to the filter if you want that it's separated, but still not too shiny. Sometimes if you really have to use it, a good advice is use it so the most neutral one, and you can also use a corporate color for a selection. Here, because I click on consumer, select it, and it shows what the consumer represents in the sales for all this category. That can be an idea, for instance. That works very well. Okay, so the second topic is find the right balance. You need to have your design as smooth as possible and try to focus on what really matters, it's data. So my advice, take away from you, I like this cartoon, it's really focus on the data. Don't put a title with a very high background. It's like very simple. Give title to your worksheet. Give title, even like, yeah, because it's much more easier after. name your worksheet also when you want to drive and do some dashboard construction. And decrease the ink ratio. Remove everything that you don't need on your dashboard and use the color meaningfully. You will see now it in action. So let's think that I have a starting point. Someone have built a dashboard and they reach out to me to try to give some advice, that I give them some advice. So here's the dashboard. What is represent? We don't know. So you have to be already, okay, it didn't name the worksheet here, you see. There is absolutely no name anywhere. Yeah, it seems that to be the sales by segment. Yeah, here it seems to, okay, that is a map, most probably of the sales or profit. I don't know, I have to over to know. Here it's split, same. So my first advice to them, it's a title, what you want to represent. And now it's already clear for me to see what it's about. Okay, it's a sales dashboard. Here it's a sales year to date by segment, fine. Here it's like they want to know, sorry, which order are profitable by segment. Here it's a distribution of the sales. You see that now I can already, with the boxes, understand much better where it wants to go. The second tip that I gave them, I think is the best design tip ever, is use blank to organize. Yeah, it's like very easy dashboard with only 4 boxes, but I think it's already make a big impact. Use blank. And now you think what you really need on this dashboard. Do you need, try to reduce as much as possible of the ink ratio. Here on this view, what you're interested, it's the value of the sales. So why are you displaying a bar with this axis? You don't need it. Here, sorry, I have problem with up. What you want, it's a distribution of your order. So each different symbol represents an order, and the same for the color. It's too messy. You don't need that. You will never recognize all of this. That is, it's order ID 100. No, you will not recognize. So you don't need that. You can have the same symbol. Maybe you don't need also this grid line below. It's kind of confused. Here it's the same value, but it will, so in some cases it's not even the same axis. Try to remove everything that don't bring any value on your viz. So by doing that, we will reduce and we will see. So here I was focusing on the data. So just put the data, that's it. Here I remove all the different symbol and color. It's already, yeah, now I can even more focus my attention on what's going on. And the same for here. I will have been able to also here, I didn't do it, but I could have removed some of the format of the text. I don't need to know that here is 600. I don't even know if it's in profit sales or number of order. I don't know. So that is still missing. And just like remove everything that you don't need. Here I remove the grid, and I still understand. Okay, so now think that all the dashboard will be used. If I think that I will add some animation and some filtering on my dashboard, maybe I can rethink a little. For instance, if I will give the user the capability to filter based on the selection. So if I give the capability of my user to filter and click, let's say, on consumer, and that all the dashboard will be filtered, I don't need this division, because anyway, it will be done by the filter. So I remove the 3 category here. And I don't forget, a good advice, wish I got it before. It's like a click to filter per segment here. This little information here, everything, will give you a user first the capability to do it, and secondly that he knows that he can do it. If you don't do guide, user guide, at least do some instruction below the title, so the user know where to click, and they will know also that here it's not written, so nothing will happen if I click. And you see, you also remove some part of the design that were not necessary anymore by having this little interaction. So, the last point, one of the last points, is reorganize. Try to have always what is most important for your user based on like kind of from like this. So you should have the most important part on the top left, and the less important part, or the one that have more detail after that, on the bottom right. It's by yeah. So here, I mean, yeah. So here the most important is to have this value after the split by subcategory, to have the distribution, and after to have the detail by where the order are distributed. So, and then that's my favorite part, add color and use color meaningfully. What I want to hear, it's a sales dashboard, but I want to see also the unprofitable city subcategory and everything. So here I will use my profit as a color, and I will put, in that case, orange, I think I choose orange, no, red, to represent something negative profit, and gray to represent okayish profit. So as you see, before I had two, I have two columns, and now because I use profit in color, I can remove this one. So, and finally, I can give a little more formatting and have something like that. So this dashboard, you will not win any visual awards, but it's not a problem. What you have done is a dashboard that will be useful for your users and that will have an impact in the daily life. With this dashboard, the result, it's like already it's easier to notice. They will be able to click on table and see where regions are not beneficiary and try to take action off of that. And it's exactly what you want to achieve with business dashboard. Yeah, something I want to mention is always think how the dashboard will be used. Do we have a row level security filter on your dashboard? Do you have filters on your dashboard? Why I tell you it's very important? Because you should always focus on the final result of your dashboard. So here I have a different sales dashboard. I have my furniture, office supply, so how much it represents, the evolution, fine, the split by subcategory here, for instance. And let's have a look at this one. If I have either a filter or a row level security, let's say that it's a row level security. So for some of my users will not see the full category, but they will be able to see only fonts, only, I don't know, a font plus binder or whatever. So if you have this kind of row level, that means that when your user will open this dashboard, it will not see that. It will see something like that. And you see the user experience now is not the same. First, I have this big view that is taking a lot of space. The same for this one, for technology, of course, because font is only part of one category that is technology. So you see, all my dashboard and the design is distortion. And I mean, it's not so nice than the previous one. Up, the previous one, you see. So it's not a problem, you just have to be aware to be able to take action. So maybe this split by subcategory, it's not the correct this, you can maybe modify it. Or here the top 10 selling product, because font, category font has only 3 products, it will display like this. So instead of having the view fitting the entire view, you can have just fitting the width. You know, but you just have to think and test your dashboard and generate the row level security to see how it will look like. So just think about how the dashboard is used, and you will do like a better visualization for the business environment. The third one, and not least, that's why I put it at the end of my presentation, is make it functional. You have to follow your stakeholder requirements. So that's my favorite quote ever from Henry Ford. Yeah, so you have to start with the user needs. You have to understand why they want a dashboard and what they want to achieve with it. And with that, you will be able to answer better their question, and your dashboard will be used, and you will have a huge impact. I can guarantee you. I have done some of the dashboard, for instance, with the procurement officer, and it's so useful for them that make them like save a lot of money and a lot of time analyzing it. So here, I will show you that two different requirements based on the same data can be totally different. So here's the data that you will see. It's about procurement data, by the way. So in the case one, my stakeholder wants to know what are the spending this year compared to the previous year. He wants to know the split by subcategory and by department. He wants to know the top N vendor. So he wants to be able to change the N and how much they represent. So I can do something like that. So here is my spending dashboard. I see the value of the spending, how much they spend this year, the evolution, and compared to the previous year. I see how much my top 15 represents. So top 15, you see it's blue, and here it's blue also. So I know that my top 15, it's 49%. And I can show you the dashboard later. It's even live, so when you hover over it on the tooltip, it's also represented. I don't only focus on the title, so always work your tooltip, it's very important. I also have my Pareto here to see the distribution of the spending. And for everything, so for the top vendor or subsidiary or department, I see very quickly how much we spent this year, it's a bar, and compared to the previous year, using the red to represent when we spend more than the previous year. So that's, for instance, with this kind of dashboard, it's clear. You see, I have a lot of blanks. It's like not using so much color. You have instruction. It's answering the purpose of the case one. But now, if I have a different procurement officer that doesn't care about the year to date, what he wants is to see the expenses per subsidiary and by country for the current year only. And for each subsidiary, he wants to know the top 10 vendors. With this dashboard, he can probably work a little with it, but it's not answering what he wants. But this one, it is. This one is just displaying the year-to-date spending for each of the subsidiary, the detail by country for each of the subsidiary, and the top vendor for each of them. Again, I will not win an award with that, but I'm making a difference on my job because it's enjoyable, it's answering the requirement, and it's easy to use. So that was my tip. Another tip that I can give you, it's read as much as you want. There is a lot of webinar, books, blogs online. Here it's some of my favorite books that you have here. I mean, I hope you like the presentation. So in conclusion, not every dashboard can be as beautiful as the viz of the day in the Tableau Public Gallery, but it can be impactful on the daily life. And that is the power of visual analytics. So make it accessible, enjoyable, find the right balance, and make it functional. Thank you very much for my attention. And I recommend you to join the Robert presentation because it's like very, very good. And you will learn even more tips if you want to compete on the Viz of the Day challenge. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Annabelle. That was a great presentation. As far as the question is concerned, there's no specific question from the community, but there is one from me. What is the most difficult thing to unteach when somebody is used to working with Tableau but never worked professionally in Tableau?
will say that the color is something very, very difficult to unteach to people. And table, they have this tendency to use table again and again. And I have to show them that table is not the best tool for them to display the value. And when you teach them, like, you take the time, you say, okay, you have this table. Can you tell me if we spend more than last year or something like that? Here they struggle a little and they put some minutes to, yeah, you see it, this and this category. I say, okay, so now we do the view, and we do it with, for instance, a bullet chart or something like that. And you see, and when you demonstrate then that you are much more powerful using visual analytics instead of using only tables, it's sometimes a wow moment, but it's true that you have to almost go one by one.
Thank you so much. We do have one more question from Sadale McCall. He has a great question here. So what is the most important question you need your client to answer to make the right dashboard?
Why? Why they want this dashboard? So usually I ask them why and what they want to achieve with them. I try not to, when they answer me with, I would like to see this graph and this graph, I keep asking them why until I got an answer. And it's very, very difficult for them to ask, to answer to why, but it's very essential because sometimes there is a big difference. And we can provide with a graph that they will never have thought about.
Great answer. Now we'll transition to Robert Crocker. So I'll introduce him real quick. So Robert Crocker is going to be talking about Tableau Dashboard Design in Figma. So about him is, once upon a time, he was a high-tech consultant in San Francisco. Back in those days, he walked from startup to startup, large corporate to financial institution, and implemented well-designed Tableau dashboards. But after some time, the high price of San Francisco gave him no choice, but he had to part ways with the San Francisco Bay. For over 3 years, he's been freelancing his skills remotely for companies like IBM, Nike, Apple, and many more. So fun fact about him is he once managed a co-living villa in Bali. So now we'll shift gears to Robert. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the presentation.
I'm just going to share my screen. We're looking good. I can see. All right, let's get through this. It's going to be a very hands-on session. So thanks for the intro. I'll follow up with a little bit more. Yep, Twitter handle if you want to connect there, that'd be great. I just wanted to go through my professional background and talk about how I've used grids or dashboard design throughout my working with Tableau. So started working with Tableau in 2011 at Georgia Pacific, a big corporate. This is before grids existed on Tableau. This is before tools like Sketch, Adobe XD, Figma even in the scope of our working possibilities. So at Georgia Pacific, it was a lot of tiled layouts. 2014, 2015, I was at Slalom in San Francisco. Worked with companies like Charles Schwab, Pinterest, and Gap. I knew I wanted better designed dashboards, but I didn't know the design principles. I'm not a trained graphic designer. I've since taken a lot of courses on the subject, but at these organizations, I just strained my eyes and tried to get the pixels perfectly aligned. Again, this was before grids and Tableau. And then 2017 to present, I really kicked off 2017 going deep in Makeover Monday, and that got me going with a bunch of creative designs. My Tableau public has since been very dormant, but I've been busy freelancing. You can check out my Upwork profile there at the link. Just go out to slides.com/Robert Crocker -1 VizConnect, and you'll be able to get into this presentation and click the link. But I've gotten to freelance with companies like IBM, Nike, Apple, and just so many startups. Currently working with Propeller Industries, and they're split between San Francisco and New York. I've also had the pleasure of making a dashboard design course with Udacity. In the course, I share some of the things that I'm going to talk about today, and those are design principles, how to improve your dashboard designs. And I'm going to be releasing very soon a course on the grid aspect of dashboard design that we're going to cover today. If you go to this presentation, click the course link, enter the promo code VizConnect, you get a little discount. But let's get into it. So Sarah Bartlett, who is on the call, has been very kind in letting me try and apply a grid to this beautiful design of hers, a history of Las Vegas hotels. As you scroll through, you a very well laid out dashboard. We're going in this presentation that much can, and that is to show us how we can apply a grid to this, how we might steal like an artist, how we can break this down and use it for our own. I use a tool called Snagit to grab the screen. So I'm just going to get the pixels just right and go up a little bit. That should be okay. Beautiful thing about Snagit is I can do a scrolling screen capture. So just until there, stop it, and let Snagit process. Once Snagit's processed, I can copy this and hop over to Figma. Figma is a free design tool, and in the course I talk a lot more about Figma so everybody gets comfortable with it. But with the screen grab, I can get in here and we can begin to break it apart. But besides the screen grab, what you need to do is you need to grab the actual workbook from Tableau Public, which is fantastic that we're even able to do. I've done it here. This is the original, right? The original download from Tableau. You can see on Tableau Public, we've got some nice sans serif text, but when we bring it into Tableau Desktop, things change, right? So in Figma, what I can do is I can do another screen grab of this viz once it's in Tableau Desktop. And then in Figma, if I zoom out a little bit, we've got a frame that I've made here. And this frame, if you see on the left-hand side, there's a layers panel. It's got the Tableau Desktop image and the Tableau Public image that I've created. And we can actually toggle these on and off, right? So we can look and see what it looked like in Tableau Public and then see what it looked like in Tableau Desktop. For some reason, we don't get the same line spacing. Our sans serif text turns into, I think it was Century Gothic, etc., etc. We can just really look and see what happens between the image that we see on Tableau Public, what's rendered there, and what we get when we bring it onto Tableau Desktop. A lot of differences, okay? So that's just interesting little comparison tool. But we don't, now that we've seen that, good stuff, we need to make the first step to make a background image that we're going to use in Tableau Desktop is to create a frame in Figma. And this is just a space to work with, right? The way we figure out how large that's going to be is to go out to our dashboard in Tableau and look at the dimensions that we got when we downloaded it, okay? So this is 1200 by 1800. In a new dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and set the custom dimensions to that 1200 by 1800. Good starting place here. And then in Figma, this object is our frame. So we're going to set this to be 1200 by 1800, okay? And sorry if I am rolling, but we got a lot to cover. So I am now going to bring this image that I copied from Tableau onto the frame. and I'm just going to lock it in place. Okay, I'm going to lock it in place so that it doesn't move around. And move it down a little bit. Good stuff. All right, the next step we need to do to figure out how to start applying a grid to this is to boxify it. And box is really, adding boxes to what we have here. This is kind of maybe it's a web design concept, but if we go out to Dribble, or let's go to behance.com, we can actually see the boxes in our browser by inspecting the elements on the screen, okay? So everything in your site, everything in the website is really just a box. And if we click on one of these, we can scroll down and see the dimensions of this box, right? So we are going to do something similar, start drawing big boxes around our image. But I'm also going to add I'm going to add a fill to, no, not. I'm just going to start drawing boxes. All right, rectangle, put this in the top left corner. I'm going to put a box around Sarah's title. And let's drop it to be maybe 30% opacity with a big stroke that stands out, just so we know what we're dealing with. And maybe make the stroke width like something ridiculous so we can see our boxes, okay? I'm going to copy this down and have okay? We're starting to get our vertical rhythm, okay? There's another row here, and the last one, or sorry, not the last one, almost the last one, is that area chart, and vertical, or the last row is the footer. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes there, and we could begin to subdivide this, but I'll save it for later. Okay, we could subdivide it by saying, all right, this is a row, but it's also 2 columns, right? But I'm going to save that for later. I will duplicate this frame, and I'm going to delete its content, and I'm going to unlock the image and drop it. This is where I start to bring in our concept of a grid. You can see Figma's default layout grid by clicking on the layout over here, switching it to 12 columns, and you start to see the layout grid we can work with. Y12, in the course, I go into more depth on Y12, but we don't have time here. I want to give ourselves some margin on this design. So I want to optimize it with a little bit of space on the left and right side. And I'm going to do that by figuring out how much space is to the left and the right of Sarah's title. So I will just grab my handy crosshairs and call that about 70. So then in Figma, I can click on the frame and edit. Good. I'm going to start by making one column, and it's going to be the full width of my design with no gutter. You need a gutter. It's going to be full width minus 70 times 2, so 140, okay? And that gives me the margin that I'm after. So now I'm going to drag some rulers out here just to get it pixel perfect. That looks good. And grab another ruler, snap it there. That's nice. All right, now that I've got my rulers in place, I'm going to flip it back to 12 columns. I'm going to spin, and then we just bump it up until the columns perfectly aligned with our rulers. Looks like that one doesn't perfectly align, but it's good enough. Yeah, that's good enough. I'm gonna drag the rulers off because we've got a grid that we can work with, okay? And we start from the top and work our way down. So I know that my frame is gonna be, it's gonna have a particular fill. So let's go ahead and make this fill that we saw in Sarah's design. It's a good start. And then let's go grab some fun text from Google. This is generally what I do. I'll go in here and type something in. So a history, let's get the caps right. A history of Las Vegas hotel. Categories, I want this to be a serif font. I want it to be display. Probably not handwritten, not monospace. The font properties, it's going to be a thicker one. So I'll bump that up and scroll through and see if we find one that we're excited by. I think I don't know if I'll see the one that I saw when I was rehearsal for this, but maybe it's even thicker. But the one that I found earlier is called, I didn't know what Sarah was using, but I grabbed Limelight, and a good one to use in this presentation. So we just go Limelight and type in the title. So history of Las Vegas hotels. Okay, I'm gonna fill that to be white and see if I can get it to fit inside of our columns. Okay, this is going to be centered, and I want to make sure that it's more or less in line with Sarah's title. So if we go set a ruler here and then zoom in, we can get the baseline just right. Okay, so now I've got my frame and I'm going to export it. This is the first time we're going to see a design come into Tableau. So you have to export at 2x to get the text to render pixel perfect. All right, so I'm going to export this 5 and just call it background 1. Make sure this at 2x is present. Tableau compresses your image when it brings it in. So yeah, all we have to do now is bring our image in. Use VizConnect live background. And up the padding. Okay, so we've got to start, right? Looks like there's some extra business happening down at the bottom that I'm not a big fan of. Can we fix that? Is this the right dashboard? Look, maybe our container. Yeah, that's why. There we go. Okay, gotta start. Let's keep cranking away. Next step, after we've sort of imposed our grid, is to add the rows. So I'm going to start with the footer. A good size for a footer, in my opinion, is going to be about 50 pixels. So we're just going to go down here and we're going to place a box, right? Everything on the screen is a box. So let's keep it simple and just make a box. All right. I'm going to create another box because we need one. I'm going to click this one. See, it's about 200 pixels tall. So I'm going to make my box 200 pixels tall. Then I'm going to do. See, this box is about 850. So I'm going to do the same. 850. And good. And I'm gonna duplicate this one more time. It's about 45. So let's start with that. Yep. Now we have all of our boxes to give ourselves positions. Actually, it looks like that is overlapping. 25. What if I made 400? Okay. Good. All right. Now we need to actually start. I called it containerizing in Tableau. What we're going to do is I'm going to duplicate Sarah's original, bring it over here, and start putting these elements into containers. So when we downloaded this from Tableau Public, we've got all these individual elements. It's really hard to work with. You got an element there, element there, element there. It's just a lot to work with. I want to put them into containers that match the sort of groupings that we've made in our boxes here to get these nice rows. So I'll just start by creating a horizontal container, dropping these in it. Let's get it and add this one. Then I'll double click, pull it up. Good. We're not going to use the title, so that can go away. And this is a nice floating image. We're going to end up creating our own, but I'll leave that for now. This is sort of the show, or at least one of them. And it looks like, so I'm going to click on this and remove that container because I don't want those two to be in the same container. This title, I'm just going to move it up. This, I'm going to remove it. This, we're going to make our own. I'm just simplifying the objects on the screen, okay? This way as well. For now, I'll leave this text because I want to, oh, actually, I want to use the flamingo text as well. Let's get this, good stuff. That text is. All right, make sure the dashboard is in the right configuration. Let's format of the dashboard, drop this to be none, and add in, like we did before, choose image, background, and okay. We need to go drop these things, make sure it's fitting properly. Okay, good. So the question is, where, oh, we need to put these in a container too. I think they're separated. Yep, let's put them in a horizontal container so that we have one container for our footer. That's nice. So I'm gonna put these in here. Good stuff. Double click this, and now we're gonna go into Figma and find out what our coordinates are gonna be. So 70 is our X, 1750 is our Y. So let's set this to be 7. Sometimes I click the container again, and 1750. My width is 1060, and my height is 50. We got our footer. Now the area chart at the bottom, that's 70. And 1060 and 300. Okay. Our main is going to be at X of 70, 100, 50, and 850. Okay. Starting to look good. Now for this one, if we want to get the XY of each individual container, we need to break that up. So let's set this to be 70. It's almost there. 200 to 530 and 100. This one is going to be 600, 200, 530, and okay. And now I want to take another screenshot. We have already set a grid in it on the design that, setting, we've already tried to impose a grid on Sphere's design, right? This is step one. So I like to review my progress as much as possible. I don't want to, over optimize. Like every little change is going to get a new screenshot. I like to try to do it as much as makes sense. If you're familiar with Git commits, it's like if we've made a significant change, then let's make a commit. If we've done a significant design change, let's take one of those big screenshots. Now we can look at the design, and I see that like the text down here is not great. This seems a little tall. This looks fine. This text isn't working for me. This box is way too large. This is floating out here, breaking the grid, and these aren't positioned yet. So let's start to improve them. So the next line of business then, I'm going to jump over to typography. So let's duplicate the frame we were working with. And I'm going to bring it over here. And we can work on the areas that we want to improve. So if this text is an area that we want to improve, let's bring it into Figma. All right. So let's go to Tableau. Let's go up here, text, and bring it into Figma. All right. Going to delete this, add a text. I'm going to set it to be a font size of 12 and Arial, and I'm going to make it white and to be 300. Okay, cool. So we've got one of our paragraphs, or one of our columns. I'm going to grab this text, and we're going to pop it on the bottom and go in here. Okay. And, how do we make this text better? Well, one rule of thumb that I like to use, and I've learned from another course that I've taken, is that like ideal text width is going to be about like 40 to 70 characters. And that is about like 3 ABCs. So I've got ABCs here. Let's figure out what font size we want this to be before we get the line width right. So I'm just going to go over here. I'm going to zoom into 100%. Let's see. I'm going to what we're working with. I'm going to start typing. Good. I'm going to. Okay. See that this is better than what it was on Tableau Public. So let's drop it down. That looks right. So I'm going to say 16 is what I want my font size to be in Figma. So we scroll over and we set this to be 16. All right. I'm also going to remove the hard paragraph breaks. Okay. Figma to create the paragraph breaks. You want your breaks in the paragraph to be large enough to notice, but not so large that you could fit another row in. So pretty good. It aligns with the grid, and yeah, it aligns with the grid. And if we bring our ABC up here, let's just bring this up, maybe set it to be our 16. Then we can check to see if it's wide enough. So let's zoom in, and our text block is not longer than 3 ABCs, but longer than 2. So that's a really good Goldilocks setting. And we can export this back to Tableau as our background image, okay? So I'm going to click on this frame. I'm going to export. And I'm just going to click on that image we were working with before and replace it. Click OK. And you see that Tableau updated what was being shown there. So now our text comes in. I almost want to increase the line height of this as well. So just a little bit more breathing room, and export it one more time. Really productive workflow, just back and forth. Yeah, we're using Figma. Yeah, it's another tool, but it's really powerful for iterating. Okay, I like that. Now I want to work on this. So let's duplicate. Well, we don't really need to duplicate our frame, but I like to lock in that version. Back to the good git commit. Okay. I've already gotten the icons that I'm going to use here, and I've already got some text as well. These icons can be found at the noun project. So you just go over here, type for something like demolition, you'll get a wrecking ball, and we'll use that down below. So instead of burning up the clock to recreate these, I'm just gonna the design I've done earlier up to the new artboard we're working with, so that we can leverage what we did. Which I'm very glad that I did, because we are in a time crunch. I'm going to copy, click on this frame, paste. And I'm going to, I think this is not a group. I want to make it a group. And then I want to bring it up. Oh, I'm going to have the whole thing, group it all together so I can drag it around. And then up, that's good. And I'm actually going to pull these off because we're not there yet. All right, so now we're going to do our same export. I export this place. And in Tableau, I can delete this. And we see that our box pops in there. Okay. Now we need to go down and work with our title and start to edit Sarah's callouts. Okay. So let's hop back to Figma and let's create yet another version of this dashboard. Good. And this is just text. So let's see, what size did I make it? I made it 24 pixels, good. So this is clearly smaller than the title that's at 72, but it does stand out, which is very, very useful. And I'm still going to hold off on those. And see, it's just one step at a time. Really one rinse. We are now going to update our background image. And then in Tableau, I'm going to delete this title. Okay. And now I want to see what this, I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this text out to use in Figma. So here, just going to paste that, make it our Arial 16 and 50. And I'm going to copy and paste this other text. And I'm going to duplicate what I've got here, double click, and paste. Now in Tableau, I can delete these text blocks and not worry about the damage. Okay. I haven't even checked to see that people can hear me, but hopefully everyone can hear me. I'm going to take another screenshot. Someone would have yelled if. All right. Good stuff. Only screen capture. Just to see how we're coming along. At maybe minutes. So we can get through. All right. So how are we looking? This comes down a little too far for my liking. So I can take in paragraph spacing and that's a little compressed. So I'm going to spacing back up and the paragraph spacing and maybe let it take up yeah, maybe we're gonna have to split hairs and go 15. Yeah, and then down. I just don't like how this feels like it's falling off the edge. So with Figma we have full modify that sort of thing. Good. I like this. I think that this chart is coming up a little bit too high. So what I want to do, I go back to our container and I want to take off 20 pixels and pop that down 20. So now it's going to be a height of and a y of 620. So a y of 620 and then let's see, I think it needs to go more. So let's see if I can do 40 and 810. Or it'd be nice if the bottom of this hit the top of that, so you know that it's self-contained and we've got a good amount of breathing room. Okay, and it looks like I have okay, good. All right, let's go back here. Try to very quickly make the flamingo deals. It is a box, and it's going to be that 800 high. I believe that's what we're working with in Tableau. 650, 800. So 650, 800. Okay. And I'm going to move this over. Move this over. Our flamingo text is going to be a little wider. I'm going to make another rectangle. And I think, let's find out how wide Sarah's rectangles were. This was about 2 by 160. So if we go over here and make this 260, 230, 160, and add some round borders, and go steal the color we saw being used. We're in good. So I'm gonna place this rectangle, just that title, and then going to set this rectangle at the bottom of our chart, but right aligned with the edge of that grid, okay? Now we need to somehow make this text fit. So let's up, let's fill, let's center align it, and I'm gonna do what we did before. All right. And now I'm gonna place this in here. We can bring it to the front with some hotkeys, and we'll just make this fit. Okay. It's much easier to push pixels around in Figma than it is. And you can adjust this like we did before. All right, bring it up. Good. Now let's see if we can grab that wrecking ball icon. Add the icon. And just, this is a group. It's not a group, it is a group now. Okay. And flamingo, let's do the same. Copy. And then make sure, just align it, group these, grab this text. And what I can actually do is I can click this, copy the properties, and paste the properties. Which is what I'm all about. Like let's use Figma, let's use Tableau, let's use them all as productively as possible. Let's go in here. And it looks like I'm really at time, but we're almost. And I'm gonna make sure bold that, and I don't want the flamingo to be bumping up against that, so bring it down. Oh shoot, is this okay? Good, good. Let's update our image one more time. Right here. And yeah, we see that this might need to be 200, bump it down to 1550, make this 100. Yeah. Screenshot. And then we'll just look at it. And I will stop talking. Scroll down. And I would adjust the footer as well. And here we can actually make some rectangles that match the properties of our background. Yeah. And I want the fill to be the same as the background color. All right. And it didn't work. I think the picture. Let me copy, paste. And copy, turn off my flux. What we've got versus the original, okay? So this was the original. This is what we came up with. And now we can, edit and iterate much more quickly in Figma and get our designs really dialed in. And it won't shift around when you publish to Tableau Public because it's just one big background image. So yeah, that's it. Sorry for running over a couple minutes, but hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you so much, Robert. There have been questions coming in about being recorded and saved on our YouTube channel, and that is something that we'll do in short order. So I just sent that out to chat. There's about 4 or 5 questions relating to that because they want to be able to use this as reference. And we'll definitely share this on the recording as well as Annabelle's presentation. It was a really fun presentation, and I guess one of the questions that came in that would help you, that somebody asked that you kind of answered already, was whether this is a way to help get around some of the weaknesses Tableau may have with layout.
Oh, absolutely. I've been able to talk to the Tableau Dashboard Design team. They haven't updated that feature in, they told me, 13 years. Like the dashboard design, besides some grids and a couple other things, like hasn't fundamentally changed in the past 13 years. They're going to be doing some big changes to the Tableau Dashboard Design space, but it still doesn't compete with what we can get from Adobe XD, Figma, Sketch, Framer, some of these other design tools that complement our Tableau workflow very, very well. I love Figma, and that's why I'm making a course on it, and that's why I've used it. I used to use Sketch, and I tried to use Adobe XD, but I found Figma to just be the easiest path forward. Yeah.
And I see so many of our designers using that to very good effect. And the Tableau community loves it. LinkedIn, everybody goes wild over Figma design on its application with Tableau. It just elevates everything a little bit more, and it gives you a nice consistent layout. So that was very great. So at this point, I'll bring up a couple things for our next meeting. And again, thank you so much, Robert, for the presentation. It was awesome. And a lot of people are going to check it out on our YouTube. I'm pretty sure of that. So for our next presentation next week, an hour later, Jeffrey Schaefer, a 5-time Zen Master and current Zen Master, is going to talk about chart tips and tricks. He generally sends out a lot of information, tips every day on Twitter or LinkedIn, but this will be a great presentation and provide some insight and a lot of tools for your arsenal in order for you to access those tips in a quick manner and have the video to go over whatever tips you need to work with. So he will be back, and again, it will be 1 hour later than this week. So thank you so much. I believe that covers everything that we have for this week. And thank you so much to Robert and Annabelle for their great presentations. This will be recorded and shared soon. Make sure to jump in on our LinkedIn group and follow Cigar on Twitter or me or anybody on Twitter, because we'll definitely tweet out the recorded version of this. Thank you so much and have a great day.